Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Alpha Heavy Gamer and I want to discuss some really good buffs the ZTZ96 and 96A received in a direct hit update. The ZTZ96 series and the ZTZ99 series for that matter got a reload speed buff to its autoloader. It went from 7.5 seconds down to 7.1, and while that doesn't sound like much at this BR, believe me it matters. The fact that the tank doesn't have a human loader means that no matter what you do, you can't decrease its reload time by upgrading the crew. The buff is welcome as it now matches all the Russian high-tier tanks, the T-90, the T-64s, 72s, and the T-80s with the exception of the U and the BVM. While it's good, I won't get too happy though. The reload is still behind most NATO NBTs however, at least for the first stage ammo. I've covered the ZTZ96 series tanks before, but not with a detailed video because frankly I didn't care about them back then. The Chinese top tier tanks were released piecemeal and without viable lineups to support them, so I pretty much grinded the 96 and the 96A out and then I just parked them. Now that Gaijin is paying more attention to the Chinese tech tree, and giving them their needed equipment like radar SPAs for example, I can actually have some fun while playing them now. So what else can you expect from the ZTZ96A besides the lower reload? Well, for the most part, this is a reliable tank with good turret armor, being able to survive most hits from vehicles at its BR. DM23 won't pen the turret cheeks for example. The base 96 though is adequate, although it has no era protection, and that will be penned by DM23 in the turret cheeks. The FY4 era on the 96A is really good and it will protect you from most ATGMs and Heat FS. The FY4 era protects the front turret and extends to protect the sides of the turret. The upper glacis is adequate on the 96A and it has some FY4 era blocks. It will also bounce some shells while the lower glacis is a weak spot. The mobility of the base 96 and the 96A is good enough, while the 96A slightly edges out the base model due to a 70 horsepower advantage, even though it's nearly 3 tons heavier. But honestly, you can hardly tell the difference. But both tanks do have 125mm guns, the same one in fact, and they have access to good APFSDS, with 466mm of pen at 10 meters, and both tanks have access to night sights and laser rangefinders, but only the 96A has a gunner's thermal sight. However, neither tanks get access to ATGMs, which could be helpful in knocking down helicopters. Some definite drawbacks to using the ZTZ96 and 96A are the gun depression angles. The base model has -6 degrees of gun depression, and the upgraded 96A has -5 degrees. These restrictive values limit hold-down tactical options. These tanks also have poor reverse speeds, which prevent use of dynamic defensive positions. If you've previously played Russian tanks, then this is nothing new, but if you're coming from NATO NBTs, take caution. It takes some definite getting used to. Both tanks carry 22 rounds in the first stage autoloader carousel, and just like the Russian T-72s, they can suffer catastrophic damage when hit from the side. So before we jump into some gameplay, in this patch, Gaijin has reworked how APFSDS shells interact with explosive reactive armor, and it shows. The 96A seems way tougher than before. You'll see that in the video.